everybody! My name is Rachel. Before we get into the books today, let us have a little culinary adventure. Victoria, are you watching? Are you ready? I have attempted to make crumpets from scratch. I have never had a real crumpet before, so I do not know how authentic these are. Crumpet-loving people of the world, please do not get upset with me when I tell you that while I like the crumpets quite a bit, I think I still prefer muffins, mainly because I have a massive sweet tooth. They are, however, good, and because I'm pretty sure that the crumpet-loving demographic is the same as the tea-loving demographic. I am also drinking tea. It is black, it is very strong, it has sugar and has milk in it, just the way it's supposed to be, so please be appeased. Crumpet-loving people, please be appeased. That concludes my culinary adventure into the world of crumpets, and now welcome to my first weekly wrap-up of February 2015, wherein I talk to you about the books that I read in the past week. The first book that I finished this week was Not My Father's Son by Alan Cumming. Alan Cumming is a Scottish actor who I know primarily for playing Eli Gold on The Good Wife. I always liked the character of Eli Gold, and I've always thought that Alan Cumming was a very interesting actor, a very good actor, and just, like, he comes across as being a really good person, very playful and fun. And if you think of Alan Cumming as being, I think he's often described as being kind of puckish. This memoir is actually quite dark because basically it's structured in flipping back and forth between his childhood and a specific period in 2010. So the parts about his childhood mostly are about his father was very physically and emotionally abusive. He was probably also very mentally ill, and he ruined Cumming's childhood. And fast forwarding to the current modern day sections of the book, which is in 2010, when Cumming was filming an episode of the genealogy show Who Do You Think You Are? And that year, while he was filming that TV episode, some personal stuff in his life went kabloom. His father, after being estranged from him for almost 2 decades, drops this bombshell on him, and then he gets some other things thrown at him because the genealogy show is investigating his maternal grandfather who fought in World War II and then never came home. He died under mysterious circumstances in Malaysia. So it feels like this book was finally coming to terms with and bringing closure to his horrible childhood, his relationship with his father, his relationship with his brother and his mother as well, and then laying to rest some mysteries about his family in general. It was really well done. I mean, I think Cumming is a really good writer. He's simple but beautiful in his prose. He tells you just enough to let you know how bad things were, but he doesn't cross over into the line of being extremely graphic, I think. I mean, he does relate to you some specific instances of the abuse he suffered as a child, which are pretty hard to listen to. And I love listening to this as an audiobook because, of course, he's an actor, but also he has a beautiful voice and he has the most amazing Scottish accent ever. I could listen to him for the rest of my life. And when he's narrating this story, you can feel his emotion. You can feel how he becomes upset and how he's almost like railing against the injustice, the unfairness of some of these things that happened to him as a child, his frustration as an adult, talking to his father. I would really, really recommend this as a memoir if you enjoy listening to memoirs. The second thing I finished this week was Trafalgar by Angelou. I'm not going to talk about this book too much because I've already filmed and edited a review of it, which will go up on Tuesday. And I loved it. Suffice to say, of course, I loved it. I've been not shutting up about it for some time now. It is science fictional rather than being fantastical, and kind of like an Argentinian take on a character from Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy in some places, if you want to view it in that way. You could also view this book in a very serious manner and get some more philosophical ruminations from it about like what the nature of time is. But I read it mostly as just the fun escapades of Trafalgar Medrano because I was in the mood for that. The third book I read this week was The Last Colony by John Scalzi. It's the third book in the Old Man's War series, and yay, we have John Perry back! If you've read Old Man's War and you know Ghost Brigade switches to a different protagonist, it switches to Jared Dirac, and then John Perry shows up, I think, at the very, very end. The Last Colony has John Perry as the main character, as the protagonist, and I love that so much. I think John Perry is a great character. He's really funny. He's much more of an average dude than some other people in the series. Like Jane, she ain't average. She's superhuman. But John Perry still maintains this sense of humanity and average Joe-ness that I really like. In addition to the fact that he is smart, that he is capable, but not over the top so. It was just a really great story. It's a story of colonization. It's a story about aliens not wanting to let you colonize, and it's a story about being screwed over by your own governing body. I think one of the standout things about this series, out of all the other science fiction, military, sci-fi, space opera that I have read, is that Scalzi has made humanity the bad guys. The colonial union is very, very unsympathetic, and the ending of The Last Colony had me cheering because John Perry finally does what no one else has done. I can't tell you what, of course that would be spoilers, but it was a very satisfying ending, and I went and got the next book, Zoe's Tale, just on the off chance that it picks up after that. I want to know what's going to happen after what John Perry did at the end of The Last Colony, so it was a great book. I gotta finish the series. It's one of the series that I'm planning on finishing this year. The final thing that I finished this week was Amulet Book 1, The Stonekeeper by Kazu Kibuishi. This is a children's graphic novel series. It's fantasy, and it's about a girl, Emily, her brother, and their mother, who go to live in this house where their great-grandfather or great-grandfather lived, and they discover this stone that has magical properties. They get sucked into another world. Their mother is kind of eaten, and they're trying to get her back, and it's good. But I didn't enjoy it that much because I've been reading a lot of more mature graphic novels and comics recently, and I like the more mature storylines. This is good. The artwork is quite good, but it was too childish for me, I guess. I don't think I'm going to be continuing with this series purely because I'd rather be reading some other things right now, but if I ever feel like picking something up that's going to be very light and fun and it's not going to break my brain or anything, my library has the entire series, so I can go get it there. I am currently listening on audiobook to Maya Angelou's I Know Why the Caged Bird Sings. I'm not going to make any comments about this until I have finished it because I don't know what I think about it yet. My ebook right now is Snow Crash by Neal Stephenson, and oh my god, this book is either over the top or this is just the way that cyberpunk usually is. And I hope that's the parody aspect, the taking it one step too far for a point kind of thing. I am enjoying it. I think I'm about 15% of the way through it right now. And I'm glad that this is the first one that I chose to buckle down and read by Stephenson because obviously I'm enjoying it. I've gotten a lot farther into it than I got into the Diamond Age, which I will think about revisiting once I finish Snow Crash. I am still reading The Shadow of the Wind by Carlos Ruiz Zafon. Taking this slowly with my buddy read with my friend Rachel. The more I read this book, the more I love it. I think it is categorized as historical fiction. I think that's what I'm categorizing it as. And I think that I need to look into reading more historical fiction here. I want to finish this entire series. I think it's a trilogy. But I also think I should finally go read Hild by Nicola Griffith because I believe that it's more historical fiction than fantasy. And yeah, I never even thought about historical fiction as being a genre I really want to read. rethinking my taste here. The big buddy read for the Amber series has finally started. I jumped the gun a little bit. I read 60% of the first book, Nine Princes in Amber, on January 31st, but I will be finishing it today on February 1st. I am going to enjoy reading these books so much. And for those of you guys who have expressed interest in doing the buddy read, if you don't know already, we do have a discussion thread over at the BookTube Reading Buddies group on Goodreads to talk about the book. There is a hashtag so we can discuss it on Twitter, but if you want to have longer discussions, I will put the link to the thread down below. And if you want to be an official participant at any point, let me know and I will add you to the participating list as well. That is the end of another weekly wrap-up for me. Thank you guys so much for watching and putting up with me for another week of ridiculosity on Sunday mornings. And I will talk to you guys again in my next video. Bye!